Good day and peaceful sky. On December 14, on the sidelines of the Ukrainian authorities, the following gossip, rumors, insiders and opinions were discussed. Layout. Political opponents of the office of the President of Ukraine began to show activity. Especially against the background of the fact that Yermak and Zelensky declared a quiet war to the regional authorities. The network began to talk about some possible political alliances of the future. For example, the forgotten former head of the Verkhovna Rada Dmitry Razumkov can unite with Zaluzhny, if he goes into politics, or with Klitschko, or with Avakov. Political technologists calculated that Razumkov has a chance to take votes from the remnants of the opposition Platform for Life party. 2023 will be the year of criticism of Z government. Everyone predicts an increase in negativity towards the president and his entourage. Gossip. There will be less electricity in Ukraine again today. In the morning it flew to the energy infrastructure facility. The office of the president decided not to inform the population about this. There were gossips that after the morning raid of Shaheds, in the Kyiv region, a lot of civilian private property and equipment were damaged. There were victims among civilians. The fault was the indiscriminate firing of the armed forces of Ukraine at a flying UAV. As usual, the office of the president and officials reported only about the downing of all kamikaze UAVs, but something flew by and flew to the target, but no one will say about it. Power outages are expected again. Backstage rumors. There were rumors on the sidelines that corruption in the humanitarian case is the highest. To get into the department that distributes humanitarian aid, you need to deposit a good amount. Everyone is rushing to these departments, because there you can make good money, in simple words, steal and write off. If in the summer everyone went to manage aid because it was possible to steal clothes, food and household chemicals, now the EU is donating generators, light bulbs, batteries, and in the future they will be donating medicines, as problems are growing in Ukraine. They steal everything and at all levels. Backstage rumors. There were rumors on the sidelines that increased mobilization was in full swing. Perhaps this is due to the losses in the Donetsk direction in the Bukhmatovsky meat grinder and a large number of wounded. Although Ministry of Defense officials say that the new mobilization will be only after the new year. In reality, military commissars grab everyone at shops, at work, at universities, security posts, banks, pump rooms, all the time. Gossip. Rumor has it that electricity rates will go up 100% next year. Now this information has been removed from publicity, as the negative in society has gone off scale. Now they will gently accustom people to blackouts in order to advance the thesis: if you want light, buy more expensive. They deliberately throw in information that electricity will be purchased from the EU, as there is not enough of its own, and you understand that it is 5 to 10 times more expensive there than in Ukraine. The same is true for coal and gas. Experts predict that energy tariffs will increase by 200% next year. They will raise a little bit so that people do not rebel. Or they will make Zelensky's favorite chip, raise it by a lot at once, and then the president will speak for the people and lower it a bit to show that they are going to meet people. Layout. The United States will approve a new package of military assistance which will include air defense, Patriot complexes. It is beneficial for the Americans to drag out the Ukrainian crisis for as long as possible in order to make money on the sale of weapons, to keep the sanctions case, which hits European business, pulling production to itself. Now the APU is running out of air defense, so the United States will add a little bit to this sector so that the Russian Federation cannot completely dominate the air. Gossip. Bukhmatovskaya meat grinder takes on negative connotations. Now information has appeared that the road to Konstantinovka and Chasov Yar is completely under the fire control of the Russians, PMC Wagner. This means that the supply of the active units of the armed forces of Ukraine may soon completely stop, which will provoke further encirclement. Now the office of the president is throwing all its forces there to keep the city under its control, but everything is going according to the scenario of the Severodonetsk loop, when the armed forces of Ukraine, after heavy losses, had to retreat from Severodonetsk and Lyzhansk. Sailors protest in Odessa. The government decree on the procedure for their departure abroad did not work, and today the head of the Seafarers Association was also detained by the SBU. The authorities are forcing sailors in Odessa to sit without light, heat and work. This is because the OP is afraid to create a precedent with the departure of any category of men. If you release some, everyone will demand to leave, and the APU needs to replace losses. Less clearing, tougher competition. Since the beginning of the Great War in Ukraine, the following have decreased. The size of the actually controlled territory. Population. The size of the economy. Size of budgets. This could not but lead to competition for power between the central and local authorities. While the war is going on, and people have dispersed in all directions. Zelensky needs local authorities only in order to receive his portion of criticism for the lack of light, heat, and water. Hence the squeezing from the hulks of control over the development of cities and the persecution of popular mayors. Zelensky is trying to concentrate in his hands all the power and resources in the country, political, squeezing out the Supreme Court, economic, taking away the regulation of building development from the communities, media, the law on media. The main task is to deprive anyone of the opportunity to compete with Zelensky. In this, by the way, he is similar to Yanukovych, who, to the last, strove to do the same. The mayors have no choice but to unite against a common enemy in order to survive. Inside. The source reports that the office of the president is manually slowing down repairs and assistance in spare parts for the energy case for the Dnieper. The Dnieper is specially frozen in order to create problems for the mayor of the city Filatov and negative from the community. Now all the cities where the mayors are in opposition to Zelensky and Yermak will receive assistance and other goodies last. With such a life hack sabotage, they will lower the popularity of inconvenient mayors. Elections are close, and every player wants to use the winter to their advantage. Inside. The source said that the armed forces of Ukraine are experiencing a shortage of ammunition for air defense and artillery. Precisely because of this reason, Ukraine cannot retaliate. Accordingly, it is becoming more and more difficult to actively resist Russian troops, and Ukrainian positions are simply wiped off the face of the earth. Opinion. Information Iron Curtain. The draft law, which is contrary to the Constitution, does not take into account the legal positions of the Constitutional Court, the international legal obligations of Ukraine and the practice of the European Court of Human Rights. The law will unnecessarily and in many ways contradictory regulation of online media, although the directives of the European Parliament and of the Council do not address the regulation of online media at all. The Rada channel is now in a special position, and it is not subject to the requirements and restrictions for all other subjects in the field of audiovisual media. All providers will be required to provide uninterrupted access to the Rada channel. The National Council receives expanded powers and can ad hoc assign or not assign the status of a subject in the field of online media to the same subject. Convenient for sanctions and prosecution in manual mode. See you later. Take care of yourself.